On Monday, the 16th of January, 2012, early in the morning, 30 intrepid occupiers met at South Station with one goal in mind: to journey south to the land of the great Washington, D.C., and protest the injustices in the world for everyone to see. Admittedly, not all of the occupiers showed up on time, and so we spent numerous hours putting the pins in back up of little blue pins and aligning them in order to look like little symbols. With the ever-intrepid occupuppy in tow, we entered our vans and headed south, down towards D.C., on a journey that would lead us to many new and strange adventures. Just a moment, this is the requisite embarrassing sleeping in the van photograph. And this is the even more embarrassing, oh my God, we locked the keys in the van photograph. Arriving in the middle of the rain, our intrepid explorers immediately went to a pizza parlor to enjoy a fine warm meal. As we retired to sleep, inside John Ford's library tent, there were two other tents set up. And then me and Nelson and Jake and one other guy all curled up on the side of the tent, which was really uncomfortable, and we were all sleeping in puddles of water. And I was sleeping in a little puddle of water because I was on the pallets, and I kept feeling guilty because I really should have traded places with one of the kids who was down below and sleeping in big puddles of water, but I didn't do it because I was afraid he would say yes. Anyway, we spent the morning exploring their camp. They have a dude on a horse. We have Gandhi. How can you compare them? Hey, hey, hey. And then we headed over to Congress to see what we might be able to do. There were a few people over there, and we walked around and entertained ourselves with a variety of speeches and, of course, theatrical performances which people put on. And then, of course, our absolute favorite thing to do, riding a number of the NGLA on our arm and watching people getting arrested. The multi-occupy GA was not very well done. We broke out into groups and it worked okay, but they could have done a lot better. The officers of the law prepared for us, and we prepared for them with soup. The best vegetarian soup you could imagine.
Washington, D.C.!
Washington, D.C.! Washington, D.C.
Is a colony!
It's a colony! It's a colony!
A few clever skits and signs, and it is time to make our way off to our real objective for the day, Congress.
This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! We got all that! We got all that! We got sold out! Banks got bailed out! We got sold out! Banks got bailed out! We got sold out!
Arriving at the congressional offices, they let us in, just like they're supposed to. Because even though we are irritating protesters, the truth is that this country is incredibly still in highly democratic hands. No one is shooting us like they would in other countries. And then the fun began as we headed out into the night. And we stood on the steps of the Supreme Court and chanted our values and held our signs. And then we got bored and decided it was time to go visit the White House. Just as the entire march was leaving, A kid ran through the mob of police and got caught. In the fall that followed, they were dragging him off with 100 protesters left behind, chanting to let them release him. When slipping through the arms of the police with incredible agility, he popped into the crowd of protesters and disappeared. The police could not catch him, and we screamed and yelled and cheered.
We've got some stuff to talk about. Obama, come out. We've got some stuff to talk about. Obama, come out. We've got some stuff to talk about. Obama.
He didn't come out. Somebody threw a smoke bomb on the lawn. That wasn't too pleasant. But otherwise we stood there and chanted, and nobody got terribly excited. Lady Liberty was there, the battling bots. It was all terribly cool and exciting. Finally, we, the intrepid explorers, retired to a pizzeria to satiate our appetites and get ready for bed. Being a bit of a wimp, I personally went to Perry's basement and had a very good sleep. The following morning, several officers of the law inquired as to the legality of the particular tent which we had set up. I assured them that the U.S. Army declared it to be a tent, not a structure. Nonetheless, they disagreed, but having been informed that we would be leaving on Wednesday, they were sufficiently mollified and allowed us to continue. The plan for the following morning was that I should waterboard Chaser. He was into it, I was into it, and almost everybody else was not into it. As it turns out, we ran out of time, so it wasn't an issue. The end.